I hope you're doing well today. Appreciate you joining me. We're going to jump ahead time-wise, and we're going to be looking at the account of Naaman. So now we're fully into the life of Elisha. Elijah has been taken up to heaven, and we're going to be talking about the commander of the Syrian army. Our hymn today is called Thanksgiving for God's Providence.
When all your mercies, O my God, my rising soul surveys, transport and with love you, I'm lost in wonder, love, and praise. When worn with sickness, soften you, with health renewed my face, and when in sins and sorrows sun revived my soul with grace, your bounteous hand with worldly bliss has made my cup run o'er, and in all kind and faithful friend has doubled all my store. Through every period of my life your goodness I'll pursue, and after death in distant worlds thy glorious theme renew.
I think we're going to key in on verse 3 there. Your bounteous hand with worldly bliss has made my cup run o'er, and in a kind and faithful friend has doubled all my store. We're going to key in on that idea of friendship as we look at our verse, 2 Kings 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, the commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great and honorable man in the eyes of his master, because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was also a mighty man of valor, but a leper, and the Syrians had gone out on raids and had brought back captive a young girl from the land of Israel. She waited on Naaman's wife. Then she said to her mistress, If only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria, for he would heal him of his leprosy. And Naaman went in and told his master, saying, Thus and thus said the girl who is from the land of Israel. Then the king of Syria said, Go now, and I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. And we'll pause right there. We're going to be thinking about Naaman for the next couple of days after this as well. And so just thinking about 3 characters and what they could have said. One, of course, is that servant girl. What could she have said? Because she's been taken captive against her will from her home. And she very easily could have said, I hope he dies. And she doesn't. And talks about Naaman being a great and honorable man. But it says something about this servant girl, that she was willing to help, to do what she could, and to try to point him in the right direction. And we might think about different places in Scripture where those who are in difficult situations, such as Daniel, saying, O king, live forever. And Daniel serving those kings, whether it's Nebuchadnezzar, whether it's Darius. And even speaking speaking straightly to when the handwriting on the wall with that king as well. But you give honor to who honor is due, and you submit, and you do what you can to bless those who are in positions of authority. And so the servant girl very easily could have said, I hope he dies, and she could have kept her mouth shut, but she doesn't. But then I was also thinking about Naaman's wife, because the young girl says to her mistress, Naaman's wife, if only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria. So it's Naaman's wife who must get the word to him. And I was thinking about what Naaman's wife could have said. And I've never thought about that before, that Naaman's wife, that would have been a very difficult existence. She's married to a leper. I wonder when the last time they had touched one another was. Wonder when the last time they had hugged one another. All of the blessings found in marriage. Here Naaman is. I don't know how bad his leprosy is at this point. Obviously, he's still able to travel. But he's got it. He's got it. Might have been visible. It would have been real easy for his wife. Let me put it another way. There's another fella in Scripture who's afflicted physically, and we know what his wife says to him. Why do you hold your integrity? Curse God and die. Naaman's wife very easily could have thought, I just wish he would, I wish he'd go so that I could move on with my life. She very easily could have not passed on the message and just waited for death. But she doesn't. She's looking out for her husband. You might think about that. I never considered that before, and I thought it was a worthy meditation. And so they get word, so Naaman goes in and talks to the king. Thus and thus says the girl who's from the land of Israel, and the king of Syria says, go now and I will send a letter to the king of Israel. You might remember they're enemies. So what could the king of Syria have done? Naaman comes up and is like, yeah, the Jewish girl says there's a man of God over there and I might be able to be healed. The king of Syria so easily could have said, you know there are enemies, right? We're not going to them asking for favors. And we always think about how much we always talk about Naaman. And it's right to talk about Naaman. But the fact that the Syrian king sends a letter, and he departs and takes with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. I don't know if those goods came from Naaman himself or came from the king. Could have come from Naaman himself, I suppose. But nonetheless, the letter comes to the king of Israel from the king of Syria. I mean, we are not far removed. It's like they've been going out raiding in Israel. The Syrians have been going out taking slaves. And now you want me to send a letter? Now you want me to send a message to the king of Israel saying, hey, by the way, can you do me a favor? You know, my 5-star general over there, he would like to be healed. It says something about the king of Syria that he would do that. And by the way, don't think that the king of Syria is a God-fearing man. We know the king of Syria is a pagan because of what Naaman says about when my master goes into the temple of, I believe it's Rimmon, when he goes in he's a pagan. But nonetheless, oh, by the way, Naaman's a pagan right now. But nonetheless, you might think about matters of honor and even matters of humility on a certain level. And we'll give it a shot. What could the king of Syria have said? What could Naaman's wife have said? What could that servant girl have said? Might think about all those things as we consider a kind and faithful friend. What could Jesus have said? Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.